It's Friday, October 18th, 2024 at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're watching Co-op for Two. My name is Jesse Reichler. Tonight we are playing part 5 of the Blair Witch Season 2 from Hunt a Killer. You can see we're just about to head into the house here, the Kent house. Now, if last night we played box 3 and 4, we've got 2 more boxes in this game to go. There's a good chance that we'll play 2 boxes tonight. So you might want to get your coffee and tea ready and pace yourself, because this might be a long evening. All right, before we do a very brief recap, let's check in with the chat, see how everyone is doing. Is there anything anyone wants to talk about before we get started? I did want to mention a couple of things. On Sunday, we'll be reading the solution to the Dear Holmes case, play-by-mail letter that we've been playing. And there seems to be a little bit of a split opinion on this recent case, not in terms of theory of what happened, but in terms of how much of a puzzle it is, how interesting it is. We'll talk about that stuff on Sunday. If we finish tonight, both boxes, if we don't finish both boxes tonight, the last box tonight, we will meet again tomorrow night to play the last box. If we do finish both boxes tonight, then tomorrow is up for grabs. We might play something to try to pack in as much gaming as we can into our October spooky marathon, or we might just take tomorrow off and have a long Sunday, which would probably be smarter. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight is, can I bring it up now that I think about it? Without my mouse here. Is it up here? Yes, it is up here. Okay. I posted on Board Game Geek yesterday. Every once in a while, we'll play something here on the channel, and I'll get reminded of how much I really enjoy sharing this time with you folks and how grateful I am to have people to share this experience with, rather than have to play these games completely solo, which I don't really enjoy. So I really do appreciate everyone joining me for these and helping out. But I posted on Board Game Geek on the guild for this channel. You'll find a link to that on this YouTube page. I asked, does anyone have any suggestions for ways to improve the channel, not to get more viewers, but to make it more interesting to for those of you who have been joining me? And Ruby, a viewer, posted an appropriate comment. And it's a little long, but I did want to put it up on the screen. And Ruby basically had a couple of criticisms, very, very gentle criticisms. But she said, sometimes you don't really interact with the channel, especially when a puzzle gets hard. You're occasionally or often ignoring help from the channel that would save you from some serious frustration, and you get kind of grouchy with the channel. And Ruby was saying she often doesn't even participate because it doesn't seem to make a difference. And then, but she said it very kindly. She said, I appreciate your style and personality. I don't want you to change anything major. Maybe share the struggle and accept some more helpful tips. And I do want to talk about this because there's parts to that that I can fix and parts of that I can't. I am not a puzzle person, really. I enjoy discussing the deduction elements of these mysteries, but when it gets to puzzles, sometimes I'm enjoying them and I'm not the best at them, and sometimes I'm quick to get frustrated. And I absolutely take it out on the chat when when my cognitive overload kicks in, when I'm feeling, especially like the room will become 85 degrees, it's hot. I feel a little bit of in general, I'm willing to sit here for a couple hours working on a puzzle, but occasionally part of what triggers frustration is expectations. And part of that kicks in if like you feel like you want to be done with a puzzle in 5 minutes and it's taking 2 hours. And then I start to get on edge. And then there's something that happens with the YouTube chat. A couple things that happens. One of the areas where it can get frustrating is there's just a delay. There's a delay in interacting with the chat. And that means if I ask a question, then it takes 10 seconds to get to you before you get your response in, and waiting for that time can be frustrating. And then there's lots of people talking at once sometimes, especially if I'm missing something obvious. Everyone's shouting out. And some statements are less clear, and I'm on edge. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And I'm lost, and something that seems like a very clear instruction from the chat sometimes just goes over my head. And then I get more frustrated because in addition to the puzzle, which half my brain's working on, the other half of the brain is trying to parse what's coming in through the chat. And I get very testy and short with people and grouchy and grumpy. And I yell at the chat sometimes when I get frustrated. So part of the problem is just the delay and my frustration, and I'm not the best at handling frustration. In fact, I'm very close to the worst at handling frustration. Everyone in my life knows that I'm not a nice person when I get frustrated. I'm not reasonable. And so I can work on trying to get better at that. Another thing, though, that does happen is that in the beginning, a couple years ago, when I would play these games, there'd be one person occasionally joining me for a playthrough. And so mainly when I was working on a puzzle, I was working on it by myself, and I sort of accepted that and worked on it. And then I'd occasionally get help from one person. We're starting to get to the point where it's like the wisdom of the crowds. Someone in the chat is better at me. And even just the odds are, when we've got 10 people in the channel, like someone has solved the puzzle before me very regularly. And I'm not doing this channel to provide you with entertainment. It might seem that that's the way YouTube should be structured. And a lot of channels perhaps are. But really, I'm playing these games to enjoy playing the games and play them with you as friends, playing these together. Now, what that means, though, is that I find myself, when we get to a puzzle that is interesting, I have to not look at the chat while I'm working on it, because I don't want to get the answer from the chat too soon. So I can see how that might be unpleasant. Like, you guys have figured it out. You're all in the chat together. You can see someone has shouted out the answer, and then you're just sitting there for a half hour watching me flail around trying to figure it out when you've got the answer. And I don't think there's a good solution for that. I think that's just the nature of it, that I'm going to want to spend time working on puzzles, and maybe we could all do that. You could avoid looking at the chat when you're trying to work on a puzzle. But what I've tried to get better at doing, and what I will continue to try to get, is when I feel like it's becoming unpleasant working on a puzzle, I'll try to more quickly go to the chat and take help. But that's the best I can do. And you guys should feel free. There's the cat has brought in her sock. All right, come bring it over here. you guys should feel free to have your own conversations in the chat. Talk about whatever you want, and we'll try to do the best we can. All right. So with that, let's open up the new box. Logan Hill says, good discussion. Thanks for being transparent. Possible compromise solution. One, Jesse, check for a possible mistake and check for a hint you may or may not want. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. So you may know that I have a light set up. Let me see if I can show this to you. Let's see. Okay. You see that little red light there? I'm going to turn it off now. Okay. So that little light lights up when someone types Jesse check to let me know that the chat has something important to tell me. And what Logan is saying is that occasionally I'll make a mistake or I'll say something that's wrong, and the chat is trying to get my attention that I've made a bad mistake. And Logan is saying, when you're avoiding looking at the chat because you don't want help or a hint, you're also avoiding looking at the chat when you've made an obvious mistake that someone needs to correct your attention to. And Logan is saying, maybe you need 2 keywords with a different light color so that you can pay attention when there's something obvious you really do need to address versus when someone has a hint. That's a good idea. I don't need a second colored bulb. This light can go different colors, so I could just code something. I think that's a great idea. Kurt says, I interact rarely, but watch almost every one of your puzzles. I hope you keep taking the time to try the puzzles yourself. Watching someone discover the answer to a puzzle is a good moment. Yes, okay, I think that is a great idea. Then we can have one color that means really you need to check the chat, and one color that means we think we've got the solution. Look over when you need it. Okay. And I will try to get better at not being so snippy. I do think one of the real purposes of this channel is to study the science of frustration and maybe try to get better at it. All right, so before we open this box, though, yesterday's box 4 was maybe my favorite box of the set we've had. We've had a couple boxes with some puzzles that I found unpleasant and puzzles that I was not happy with. But the last box, this is the box from yesterday, it was actually interesting for a couple of reasons. I'm just recapping yesterday's box very briefly. First of all, the case took a dark turn. It was all sort of Scooby-Doo. No one was really hurt, just ghosts and scary supernatural stuff. Then in the last box, prepare yourself, we got this photograph from one of our people. Oh, by the way, someone was killed, their skin was ripped apart, and you've got these ruined symbols written on the skin. So all of a sudden, things got serious. And one of the people has died. We think one of the interns. And we have this little twist in the story where different people all came together. And we discovered notes from the 4 people that are in the forest. Actually, 3 people, plus this guy that's gone missing a long time ago. So the intern Emma, the intern Ray has showed up, and we've got their notes. They're lost in the forest. We're trying to help them. And James, our partner on the podcast. And we think the person who's been killed and ripped apart is Ray. And they're all lost. They all came together along with Rob, who's one of the local villagers who's gone missing. And it looks to us like they're all going crazy. They're all hearing voices. They're all seeing this mystery writing in this code. And Rob, who's turning into some creature of the forest, like turning into a tree kind of creature, has infected them or something. And maybe we're wondering if Rob and James are sort of trading this identity, because we've got this weird reference to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it's not quite clear what the connection is, but some ominous discussions. One of these people says, I have to hide, and they're getting paranoid about each other. And we did get this picture of 3 of them outside the tent at this campground. We don't know which 3 this is, but if we're right that Ray got killed, then this would be Emma, James, and the lost villager, Rob. But we don't really know. But clearly the spirits are tracking them. We see these piles of stone and weird stuff. So we don't fully understand what's going on in this story, but it has gotten very scary. And there's this little document about how to kill a witch. And if you don't really kill her, she'll come back. They can't come back from the dead, but if you half kill them, they'll come back. So very weird. And it almost feels like that there's something to figure out regarding Hyde. Like, it's not 100% clear. They're all hearing a bit of voices whispering of the forest. And the original Blair Witch is a Blair Witch, but it's not 100% clear if this is a spirit of the forest or the spirit of the witch. It almost feels like a spirit of the forest. But I don't think we fully understand the Mr. Hyde reference here. All right, let's see. Chat wants my attention. In the pictures of the tents, when there are 3 of them in the tent, who took the picture from the outside? No one mentioned that last night. That is a good point. Comment about the Morse code. That's a description of Rob's clothes on the poster. We could compare. There is a description of Rob's clothes on the poster. That's interesting. That's a very clever observation. He was last seen wearing a dark green and brown coat, gray undershirt, and blue jeans. Well, that doesn't really match the person on the right, who seems like it might be old Rob, but could be the person on the left. We don't know. But you're right. We don't know when this picture was taken. Maybe this is taken by Ray or Rob or whatever. So maybe all 4 of them are alive. We know that all 4 of them were at the campsite at one point. Well, we think, unless someone's imagining the 4th person. Or they've set up their phone to take remotely. I don't know. All right. DJ says, I'm completely tired of the Morse code. Hopefully we're done with that. I don't know. The code's one of what we did yesterday for a good hour was figure out how to decrypt this weird alien writing just by going through trying to pick out words we might know or be likely. That was one of my favorite puzzles in the box. Hunt the Killer has done that a couple times, and that's actually a puzzle I really enjoy, a code work that I really enjoy. All right. let's open the box and get started. Okay, episode 5. Can we clean up our workspace a little bit? Do we need to have the house here on the table? Maybe we can just put the house there. I'll tell you, I normally hate these little gimmicks and stuff, but this one I'm finding affecting. Maybe it's because it feels like the spirit of evilness could be in that little model there. I feel a little bit of malevolence from that little model. It's like a magnet from the podcast. Some people love these things. I mean, it's just mostly junk to me. But, all right. Let's read our introduction. Investigator, by the time this package reaches you, I'll be in the Black Hills Forest. Lanning gave me another warning to get out of town, but I'm not going to let him or the whole damn sheriff's office stop me. I went to the Kent house, and Harriet ran out to me the second I got there. She seemed to be able to tell I was determined to go inside, and even though she tried to warn me not to go in, I eventually got through to her that she wasn't going to be able to stop me. When that finally seemed to sink in, Harriet got a few things from her house. She said I should have a note along with some copies of documents from her archives. Then she just turned and walked back to her home. Even from where I stood, it felt like I could hear locks clicking and bolts sliding into place. Guess she gave me all she could. The Kent house was trashed, and I didn't know what Harriet meant about someone being in here until a few minutes later, when I looked at a picture I took on my phone. It was Emma. Somehow, in the Kent's house. I tried to get another picture of her, looked all over the house through my phone, but this was all I could get. We saw that picture with someone upstairs. Emma Parker wouldn't be the first person to mysteriously appear in some place where she couldn't possibly be, especially not in Burkittsville. Maybe it's astral projection, maybe a vision. Whatever it is, to me, there's no doubt. She was trying to get my attention, and she got it. I spotted some things she left for me, a couple papers with her writing on them that looked like they were picked up from around here, and part of a comic I saw Emma reading while she researched related folklore for the trip. They were all hung on the refrigerator with a magnet. It was this stupid super neutral magnet I gave to her. She was so thrilled to get it, kept acting like I'd given her some precious gift. I just didn't have any better swag on me. I need you to make sense of all this and help guide me to my crew. They might be separated, so there may be more than one place we'll need to check. For now, just focus on where to send me first. Let me know the location through the chat box. I updated the folder. There's already that map of the woods there from earlier. That may help. Maybe a part of me always knew I'd end up in these woods at night when they're at their most powerful, no matter how I kept trying to avoid it. But not everyone who goes into these woods knows what they're dealing with in the same way we do. Let's hope that gives us the upper hand. This guy has gone into the woods where everyone gets lost? That sounds like a terrible idea. All right, let's see what we've got before we check out the website. So some of these documents we were given by Harriet, the next door neighbor, and some of them Emma seemed to have left. So here's Harriet's note. Burkittsville History Museum, Digital Archives. All right. And then we got the magnet and comic Emma was reading. Legends of the Grimoire. Grimoire. We heard about this from someone. I forget what the context was. They were reading it. It was in the forum posts. The forum posts were talking about this. Okay, this looks like the comic that Emma was reading. So Emma was reading one, and then Tristan was one of the boys that's... We interacted with two boys that are fans of the show. I don't remember exactly the details of them, but I think Tristan was one of them. Okay, and a card. A vet clinic from the Kent family. I can see this lines up with this. All right. Well, let's start with the note directly to us from Harriet. Back of a magnet has extra marks. No. Nothing extra on the magnet. I think it's just a little toy. Edward, I have been a sentinel in this town for years. I've seen things you cannot fathom, amateurs and explorers vanishing without a trace. I grew up on the cautionary tales of the Creekside Timber Company, an entire group of men conquered by the woods. We read all about that in season 1, and we've got a map showing where the timber company is. Perceived skill did not save any of them, but perhaps some more direct knowledge would have. I can see you follow this path, you and this investigator you've borrowed from Rosemary. I don't know if, like me, they've already warned you, if they've given you a bit more advice, seeing what happened to her and her family. One way or another, here's a little more. I've included something that I hope may help you. Some may tell you your friends are dead, that you should turn back. They may tell you to leave Burkittsville now and never return, or you'll never leave at all. I can only hope that those voices are wrong, that there may be some way of getting out of those woods. There must be hope we can see those we've lost again. Remember, we've read a letter from Rob who's saying a similar thing, hoping to get home to his wife, Harriet. So Harriet is clearly hoping that she might see Rob again, her husband. All right, nothing else here. All right, so it sounds like this is what she's left us, where we could learn a little bit about the town. Let's see, Burkittsville History Museum, Digital Archive, Homesteader Letter, Elizur Daventry, Blair Town, to John Daventry, Baltimore, 1810. Original, discovered in the ruins of a half-built cabin, 1824. Okay, this is before the town was renamed, when it was originally Blair. All right, a little creepy. Let's read this letter. Father, may this letter reach you before Charles and I do, to help you prepare for our impending arrival. We have successfully reached the town of Blair. I do not know what this place is called now, if it is called anything at all. Perhaps the wicked fate that befell the children of this town should have erased it from the map entirely. Charles and I thought we would settle it something, making our home where no one else would dare. We thought to rechristen this place as Daventry, Maryland. We thought we would settle it anew, making our home where no one else would dare. We thought to rechristen this place as Daventry, Maryland. Sadly, it is not to be. We heard the tales of what took place here, and yet we did not heed them, as you said we should. We were fools. Charles and I are in grave danger, and I believe the only way to avoid it is to abandon this place entirely. I hope this letter will convince you to prepare for our impending arrival. We attempted to build our home at a lovely spot near a waterfall. We were so close that the pleasant rushing of the falls lulled us to sleep each night. We never could have known the steady rumbling of that water concealed something much more sinister, the growling of a great and terrible beast. The strangeness of the place began to reveal itself to us slowly. We found trees stretching toward the sky that we swore we had felled the day before. We saw lights, quite unlike firelight, coming from deep within the wood in the middle of the night, though we knew we must be the only two souls for miles. Soon after, a fearful change came over Charles, something I could not quite define, a change that made him seem quite unlike himself. He began to complain of strange sensations, simple things at first, a chill in the air, despite my having lit a fire in what we then hoped would one day become our dining area. Then, of simple aches and pains of the kind a boy experiences as he grows, only for that pain to escalate to what he deemed unbearable heights, as if his limbs were elongating. Just as suddenly those pains would disappear. Charles then began sleepwalking, a complaint from which, as you know, he has never suffered. The first night I found him standing aimlessly in the corner of our soon-to-be home's foundation, simply standing there. On the second occasion, this time during the day, I discovered Charles staring into the rushing currents of the waterfall. He spoke only of the voice of a woman drawing him deeper and deeper into the forest. The terrible events culminated in a nighttime vision of the most frightening of specters, a devil that looked as if it were made of the forest itself, as if the trees and leaves and moss had all conspired together and created the body of some great and terrifying demon. Charles and I could see it wandering the woods, its enormous height, that of the trees of the forest, and ever so slowly its head turned, and in its fiery eyes burned those same lights as we'd seen before. I believe, though I cannot explain how I know this, that the beast wanted us to see it. It wanted us to know it was there for us to bask in its power. It was some great evil cat, and we but canaries in a cage. There is presence in these woods, something wholly unholy, and I fear that not only does it intend to claim us both, but that its horrid grip is already wrapped tightly about Charles. I fear that despite our efforts to make a new home here, the only way to save Charles may be to abandon it. You were right to warn us against coming here, Father. You were right to tell us, to call us not men but foolish children, to tell us to heed the tales of this abandoned town. I wonder if that will bring you some measure of peace, or if... And she's trailed off. All right. That is pretty creepy and consistent with the story we find ourselves in of the men being transformed into some tree-like forest creature, being taken over. And if you look at that note on the last box, it talks about the witches elongating limbs and stuff. But it seems like there's a tree spirit in the forest that's corrupting people and turning them into things. All right, well, that is kind of creepy. Let's see. Why don't we go to the website and see what's changed? See what's new on the website. All right, so we need to log out and then log back in with the new password to get the day's updates. All right, here we are. So remember, there'll be two things that are updated. One is the files that Ed has sent us, and one is the message boards. Maybe we'll start with the message boards today. Let's see what's new. Now, see if we're going to get something about Legends of the Grimoire. That was a game that they were talking about, and we've got a card from it now. Okay, so remember, they're talking about how this whole podcast crew, Super Neutral, has disappeared, been canceled, hasn't updated anyone. Any news? Did we ever find out if this was real? Nothing beyond piercing caskets post. Not exactly what I'd call proof. You can believe it or not, Dane, it's still happening. Yeah, according to your cousin's sister's roommate's friend. Going to start a petition just in case. Good idea, Mandy. Pretty sure everyone on here will sign it. Absolutely. They're talking about the rumored shutdown of the podcast. Spotted something weird in a photo I took. Every day is Halloween. Would y'all check out this photo? Is this the Jersey Devil? It's a greyhound. Little dog. I don't think so. Why not? Looks like the Jersey Devil got his rabies shot. Good for him. Bad visions have me concerned. Hey, spooky family, as many of you know, I get weird premonitions from time to time. They started when I was a child, when an angel touched my forehead and gifted me with the visions. I've been having some about Ed and James, weird isolated images that aren't connected to anything else. I think the universe is trying to speak to me. I've seen them becoming trees, surrounded by the woods, some huge shadow looming above them. Have they put out any content since going to Burkittsville? I feel like we haven't heard from them in a while, and I'm worried, especially after hearing that their show might be canceled. That's one of the places where the forces of darkness seem much stronger. Everyone just ignore this. None of someone's watching 92's premonitions ever pan out. Burkett's villain, the person who lives in Burkittsville, says, I wouldn't be too sure. I live there. People who go in don't come out. I feel so powerless. What can we do to help? Honestly, I wish I knew. Wonder if we could find the post about the grimoire to see if it's of any relevance. This is the last box's. Here it is. Here's the post. Creepy game. This might seem a little superstitious. Better safe than sorry. My daughter just received this game called Legends of Grimoire as a birthday gift. Has anyone on here played it? The name Grimoire sounded pretty creepy. I did an internet search. What I found was disturbing. Most worrying thing I read about this one card that has this creepy figure with a night sky. They say kids have jumped off buildings and things like that after seeing it. Do you think any of that is true? And then everyone says, it's just a game. It's my favorite game. Best game ever. Thank you for your replies. I appreciate it. At the risk of sounding paranoid, something really weird just happened. She threw out the card, and then she saw her daughter playing with it, and everyone's like, she probably just got it out of the trash. She says, I don't think so. I put it right before they picked it up. My best friend had that game. My cousin's best friend, she drowned in a pool. Burned the whole deck. All right, so she said this one card people talking about, creepy figure with a knight card. All right. Now, look. Is this going to be the creepy figure with the knight card? And just by looking at it, are we going to be cursed? Ugh. That looks like it. The necromancer of the forest. Alpha level monster. Immortal power doubles when played at night. Inflicts petrify status on enemies. And it's got some weird... Yeah, that's pretty creepy. A little eye on the headdress. Symbols around it. Horns. Pretty creepy. So I'm not sure who gave this to us, whether it was Emma. It does have some symbols here that might be relevant for us. I wonder if those are going to be useful for us at some point. Okay. Let's go back to our website and see what new files have been uploaded. All right, so the photos from the phone, those were the tent photos. And you do remember that this map, there's the timber company, main timber company in the upper left, and then the outpost in the middle. This feels like the map we had from season 1. There's a whole backstory about how the mining company went, the timber company went crazy, etc. And Harriet mentioned it to us in today's box, today's letter. All right, now let's, and the Ed thinks this might be helpful for us. Jonathan says this card symbols might be the 4 elements: earth, air, wind, and fire. It looks like they're this. She's got them around in her circle around her as well. All right. So, and there's the tent and shut down production. That was the letter telling them they're canceled. So we've got 2 new documents he uploaded. One is a photo of the Kent's living room. Of that house there behind me. And then we've got another one from the Good Fences post. Okay, but I think we're going to take an early break first before we start reading those. I'll see you in 8 minutes. Okay, we're back. We're going to finish checking out the documents that were left for us on the website. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Photo of the Kent's living room. This is, whoa, that's kind of creepy there. So this is, wow, that's creepy. What's going on here? Oh, I don't like that. All right, let's see if we can download it and we can zoom in. Why, that's creepy. Okay. So she's sitting in the corner, writing ones and zeros, which could be Morse code or could be binary. Looking at the number of, I expect this is dots and dashes. Dot, 4 dot, although there's 4s, 3s. I suspect it's Morse code, but let's continue looking around. What else do we see? In the bottom, it looks like a marked up photo, Southwoods Academy. Can we tell what this book is? Oh, that's creepy. There's a time. Looks like a little past 6. What's this? A photo of the Kent family, I guess. Their faces all blurred out. Maybe I can bring this up full. Okay, and then what's happening here? Someone has cut into the wallboard, revealing plumbing. It's kind of weird. Why has that happened? What's behind that? A little pizza box with a bottle or something in it. Can't tell what that photo. Oh, it is upside down. You're right. Looks like a dog in the photo. Maybe that's what that vet letter is from. We're going to find out. I don't know what's the deal with this pizza. So there's a screen, it looks like, that was taken off the window. I don't know what the deal is with this hole cut in the wallboard, though. But maybe that's a place we're going to have this person look. Okay. Creepy. Anything in her hand here? Not really. Ugh, this is scary. All right. So I wonder if this is going to be Morse code. Let's get out our Morse code. Let's see if that's possibly Morse code. So let's look for a second. I want to look at the 4-digit ones. We got 1010, 1101. Those are the 4s. Let me see if the ones are dashes, dash dot, dash dot. Do we have such a thing? Dash dot, dash dot. Yes, that would be a C. C O. I'm looking at the middle line here. C O N dash 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 dot dash would be 1101 dash dash dot dash. That's a Q. That seems a little less likely, but dot dot dash is a U. So okay, so this is going to be Morse code. Let's go ahead and decode this while we're here. We can bring up we can't bring up our website easily because this is also on the tablet. We'll just do it manually. Okay, so a dash by itself is a T, assuming all lines start with T, and then H, and then E, T, H, E, dash, dot, dash, dash. I'm looking at the 1011, dash, dot, dash, dash. Dash, dot, dash, dash, they. Okay. So let's see, can I do it so you can see it while I'm writing it? Okay, so the ones are dashes, the zeros are dots. Okay, so first word is they, and then we've got T dot dash dot R dot dot I E E R I E they are tried T O they tried to dash dot dash dot C O N dash dash dot dash Q U N E N R. They tried to conquer E H E. They tried to conquer dot dash dash W O O D. They tried to conquer the woods. Okay. So this is about this family that got wiped out because they tried to conquer the woods, I guess. All right. Well, yeah, that's creepy. That is very creepy. All right, let's continue. What else do we have? Going back to our website. We've also got a good fences post. Good fences. This is like next door, I guess. Sophia Ames posted safety alert urgent. One of the kids I babysit, she's 12, got this from an unknown number. Please be wary. I don't know how where this started. Children should not be allowed to go into those woods. There are a lot of dangerous drops and abandoned structures, not to mention the wildlife. Black Hills Forest Challenge. The radio tower, call for help 5 points. Creekside Timber, bring your axe 25 points. Ruins, if you climb into the well, pose with the tree. Jones Camp Falls, the sound of the waterfall. It's a little hint about where the waterfall was that we heard those people talk about and our guy talk about. So you can get points for going into the forest and doing these things. No points will be awarded without receipts. Forward to at least 5 people, or you might just find yourself at one of those places against your will. Yikes. And Sophia's saying this is a very dangerous thing. Children should not be going into these woods. This post has been marked an urgent community announcement. Comments have been disabled. Investigator found this on a community message board. Guess we weren't the only ones who looked before we left. I don't know what that's about, but okay. So there could be kids in the woods doing this challenge. That's creepy. All right. Well, not much more on the website for us. Can we check the rest of this? What about that dog? Are we going to have information here about the Kent family? Owner, Kent family. This is Positive Vibes Vet Clinic. Burkittsville, Maryland. Kent family, Hudson, Rosemary, Liam, and Tristan. Okay, so those are the two kids, Liam and Tristan. Remember in the beginning of our first box, we got a note left in the hotel from two kids who were interested in Super Neutral, and I think they were Liam and Tristan, and now they were the original kids from the Kent family. The dog was named Tank. January. Tank was brought in by his owners with deep wounds on his legs and neck and a fractured right metatarsus. These injuries are consistent with an attack from another animal. According to his owners, Tank has escaped into the Black Hills forest multiple times over the past few months, but has always returned unharmed until this incident. Each time he's escaped, including this most recent occurrence, Tank was found in the same location near a particular petrified tree atop a hill deep in the forest. Found in the same location, a petrified tree atop a hill deep in the forest. In my opinion, he may be experiencing a kind of homing instinct for this location. While Tank's injuries indicate he was attacked at or near this location, it is difficult to say what animal is responsible. After discussing the incident with the Kents, I believe they took all the necessary precautions and were not at fault for Tank's escape. Regardless, I have advised them to avoid letting Tank be outside alone, given his propensity for jumping fences and digging holes. Tank's wounds were cleaned and bandaged and the fracture set. The Kents have been advised to return daily for dressing changes and the eventual removal of the cast. Jonathan asks, was the Kent family the family we were dealing with in season 1? I think so. I think that's right. Rosemary Kent. All right, so the dog is going to a specific location, and then we've got this partial seal from the Timber Creek. A petrified tree atop a hill. That's very creepy, but that seems like a location of import. What was our assignment for today? We're trying to find everyone in the forest. There may be multiple people. We might need to go to more than one place, but focus on where to send me first. And maybe we're going to be sending him to this petrified tree. I don't know. It's a little scary. All right. Let's see what we've got next here. Burkittsville Sheriff's Office, West Landing Sheriff. There's a ticket number for Edward Barrett. That's the guy who's hired us. At the Burkittsville Motel, 12 Main Street, Burkittsville, Maryland. Various offenses. Okay, so these are the violations. He was told not to be looking around town, and they fined him for all these violations. He's soliciting for personal information, stories, or directives. He's visiting active locations of interest, Rosemary Kent's house, radio tower, calling the police, making a false claim of ownership for property under town care, a recovered vehicle. And then let's see. forecasting the future. I looked it up. This one is actually real. Granted, left on the books since the 1700s. Guess he found every charge he could. You must answer this ticket within 14 days. Last chance, leave the woods alone. Leave our town alone. Pretty creepy. I don't see anything on here. We did note that these numbers could be significant in some way. 1700s and 1217. Forecasting the future was a violation of town laws in the 1700s. Okay. This is Tristan, the kid who was one of the Kent kids. Come, my disciples. My eyes. They've met the tree person. There's the dog. This like spirit is following them. They all seem to be possessed by this creature of the forest. Now it's in all of them. There's their dog. Tank. Looks like they all got possessed by the forest creature to me. And here's more of our symbol here. All right. My eyes, he says. All right, what have we got next? Here is the comic that Emma was reading, and it looks eerily similar to that druid in the comic that Tristan drew. Oh, learned one, what of the Wisplights? Might they have helped us? The wise old man grumbles, tossing the answer around in his head. He hesitates, but then, since the dawn of time, humans have looked to the lights for guidance. But while the stars above know what it is, we seek the wisp, know naught but destruction. Look. Some are said to be made of fire, hot and temperamental. Others of ice, a cold final breath of one who's just passed. But whether they be elementals or spirits of the long forgotten, shards of heaven or creatures from the great beyond, only look to the skies, my disciples, and heed not the wisps lest you be led astray. Their guidance is false and good only for the dead. There's the tree spirit, and it's saying, like, is this from elementals or creatures from outer space? Don't follow them the way these people follow them, because they're evil. And this seems to be tying into Jonathan's theory that they're elemental fire, ice, earth, maybe wind, whatever. Pretty scary. All right, don't trust the wisp lights. Don't trust the wisp lights. Keep that in mind. Don't trust the wisp lights. All right. What is this thing here? While little ones are fast asleep, beside their beds I softly creep, and treasures there I leave behind as payment for the teeth I find. So every time you floss or brush, yes, even when you're in a rush, remember me, for this is true. There's someone here who's watching you. Okay, it's the Tooth Fairy. We've run into a couple of teeth in these boxes so far. This is a little lighthearted mention of the Tooth Fairy and teeth. A black mark on this. To tell you the truth, today's a big day. It is a big day. Congrats on the tooth, skunk. Let's show it to your brother when he gets back. I'll make sure the Tooth Fairy keeps it in a safe place until then. Love, Mom. So this was an item that would have been in the Kent's house. And the two brothers, Liam and Tristan, one of them is nicknamed Skunk. And then this looks like the last part of that. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like we really need to have it, but if we do reconstruct it, I mean, it's not like we really do need to construct it to know what it says, but it's the Timber Creekside Company. Timber Creekside Company, which is on our map here, which I can't click on without this. Timber Creekside Company, or Creekside Timber Company. I mean, okay. There it is. You can see at the bottom of this map, Timber Creekside Company logo. There it is there. Kurt says, I wonder if the angle between the two pages when the crest is lined up will be used. I think, I'm not sure there is going to be any meaning to it. If I turn it around just to preserve it, I don't think it's anything. Doesn't seem like it's anything. All right, we'll worry about it later. But what's odd is we've now gone through all of the documents that we have for today, and we're supposed to answer the first question, but I guess we might just, it seems like we're ready to answer this question by just guessing. They might be separated. There may be more than one place we need to check. For now, just focus on where to send me first. It feels like we should just send them to the Timberside Creek Company, right? Or the Petrified Tree. But the Petrified Tree is where people got attacked. So I'm inclined not to go there. feels like the Timberside Creek Company is considerably safer. There are two timber company buildings. Well, yes, that's true. But one is the outpost and one is the actual Creekside Timber Company. It's a weird, it's weird to have us answer this question now about where to find them, as it feels like we haven't concluded that they would be there, other than this is the one place that's been mentioned. But I suppose it's been put together by the items that Emma has left for us. So it makes sense that we would, that they would be telling us where to go. I think we should not overthink it. I think we should we don't really know where the petrified tree is. So I think we should just tell him to head to the Timberside Creek Company as his first thing, rather than overthinking it. Don't forget that he can send us more information through the website. So it wouldn't be surprising if once he goes to the Timberside Creek Company that we pull up the web page here and he says, okay, I've uploaded stuff for you. So shall we try that? Shall we just try going in to try sending him that information and see what happens? I think we should. Okay, so let's go into the chat here. Let's send him a message and say to go to the Timberside Creek Company, like this. Timberside Creek. Is that how it's referenced in the map? Timberside Creek. Let me bring that up again before I do that. How does it? I mean, surely if you don't have this keyboard, it should work. I just don't. Okay, Creekside Timber Company. Creekside Timber Company. Creekside Timber Company. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. We'll just send him there. Surely, what could go wrong? Okay, here we go. Okay, I think I'm right near there. Let me give you a call. I see he's found some stuff. He's found a dog collar and notes. All right, let's listen to what he says. Let's see if we can hear it together.
I made it to the creek side. There's a body. It's...
I have to pause it because I couldn't hear it.
made it to the creek side. There's a body. It's Ray. God, this is my fault. I Emma and James aren't here. There's no sign of anyone else. God, that with the carvings at the campsite, I think that might have been from Ray. Something just ripped them apart. Are those claw marks? There are these gashes. And wait, he's holding something. It's a collar. A dog collar wrapped in paper. I'm gonna send you the pictures. See if you can... Whatever this is, it has to mean something. We should hurry. Emma and James, I hope they're still out there. I just...
Under here, download or playback speed.
I made it to the creek side. There's a body. It's Ray. God, this is my fault.
All right. So Ray is actually dead. And he's got a collar wrapped in... Can I open in new tab? Let's see. Can I open these two things in new tabs so we don't get them closed? All right, let's see. So there's the dog collar of the dog. Looks like the dog got killed. Don't see any other clue here, though. That was the dog named Tank. All right, but it was wrapped in a piece of paper. Let's take a look at this. Creekside Timber Company, Mill Site Restoration. Contractor Hudson Kent. Summary of findings. For a more detailed description, read the attached report in conjunction with this summary. According to Mr. Kent, extreme structural defects were detected on the day of inspection, including cracked brickwork, black mold in the ductwork, external concrete settling, bowing in north-facing wall. Mr. Kent also explored the proposed sites for a new mill and judged the following safe for development pending further inspection. Okay, so here are places where a new mill could be built. The former Gillard homestead, all structures demolished in the early 19th century. The site of the former ranger station on the north end of the small tributary that runs through the forest. Also includes a dilapidated shed. The site adjacent to Jones Camp Falls, cleared for use in the 18th century but never developed. The following locations were deemed unsafe. The eastern portion of Pine Hollow and Hermit's Cove. The western portion of Pine Hollow, grid size untenable for needs of lumber mill. The site just west of Jones Camp Fall, below ground aquifer and potential flooding from the waterfall makes the site untenable. the site adjacent to the fork in the tributary known as Witch's Bend. Erosion from the river would be harmful to any potential foundations, or the raised portion of the creek embankment known as Dutch Hill. Hill and potential extensive roots from seemingly petrified tree may prove problematic. Okay, so we got a bunch of places by name now and number that seem relevant to us. We've got a couple clues. One is one of these places we're told where the petrified tree is. We know that's where the dog went. And since we've just got the dog collar, I might be inclined to go there next. But we were also given some clues about the waterfall being relevant. So we might want to consider that. And then we've got follow the smoke, which I don't know if that's the same as follow the light. We definitely don't want to follow the light creature. We've been warned about that. And what else does it say down here? Should White Oak wish to pursue options to rebuild the mill, we are able to enlist Mr. Kent for further consulting. Please note that as Mr. Kent is the only local resident willing to perform an inspection in the Black Hills Forest, he has been compensated at double the usual rate. And then we've got blood on these documents. Creepy. All right, so I mean, it feels to me like the answer is to go to this last place with the petrified tree. Just because, is that writing here we should be able to decipher? Doesn't scratching? Because of the dog. Like he's got the dog's collar. We know the dog liked to go to the petrified tree. So it seems like we should be going to 008, the raised portion of the creek known as Dutch Hill. Doesn't it? Any thoughts from the chat? It's a little weird because we're sort of just figuring out place to go that seems like the evidence is pointing to those places without specifically knowing why our people would go there. Kurt says, I agree, the tree. The other option would be follow the smoke, might be the old ranger station. I think it was the only other dwelling on there that might produce smoke. But the latter is a long shot. It is a little weird to see this follow the smoke line. I mean, what? How could we, if we wanted to follow the smoke, what would that even mean? Follow the smoke might be the old ranger station. We'd have to have more evidence that there's smoke in the old ranger station before we said that the smoke was there. I mean, we do have a picture of smoke. Follow the smoke. I don't know how to follow it. Is there smoke on our... Follow the smoke. Is there smoke on the map? Let me look at that map again. In fact, let me see if I can open that on its own page. If we look at map of Black Hills Forest, it'd be nice to have this open on its own page. There's no smoke on this, huh? There were notes on the permit. There were notes on that other permit. You're right. There were notes on our previous box's permit referring to some of these places that were listed here. Might pay to get that out. Let's see if we open our previous box. Maybe not the previous box, but the box before? Maybe it was. All right, so these two documents I'm going to keep out because they seem to be talking about those locations a bit. Let's just look at this. No mention of smoke here, but here we were told a little bit more about places. People got bit by a snake. The Antler Man. Frayed ankle. And this was person watching from the trees. Well marked with the circle of trees. Remember that. Hole in the ground. There's the monster with the limbs. That was the flare. So, I mean, it makes sense that these are people here, but they might have left. I don't see how this is relevant. Okay. But let's see. Marco says this. Logan says smoke seems to follow north to east. Follow the smoke, chimney top landing. Again, feels like a long shot. Maybe the smoke refers to the chimney. That's other people agreeing with this idea. So one of our places is called Chimney Top Landing. That's an interesting theory. Follow the smoke, chimney top landing, I guess. Now, are any of these places the chimney top landing? No. Hmm. Do we have any more information about chimney top landing? I did make notes at some point, but I think I left them. All right, we're just going to look at this quickly. Then I think we're just going to make the easiest guess, which is the petrified tree. But let's see. I want to see if we've got a comment about the chimney top landing anywhere to get more information. This was Rocky Flats. Chimney top landing. Several food containers and beer cans were found near chimney top landing. Cleaned the area, issued a community statement. Later sources indicate a group of high school students skipped a day to party with the witch. Not very useful. All right, well, it seems to me that the most likely answer for our next step would be the petrified tree. That is saying that I also missed one. Let's see. Oh, yes, here is the chimney top landing. Another entry. Youth group from the church, theft of 2 backpacks. Left their camp near chimney top landing to go bird watching. Group ended their outing early, left the forest. As of this report, culprit has not yet been identified. Though one of the boys claimed the thief was the Antler Man, he claims to have seen bird watching near the chimney top landing. Well, okay. So it seems to me there's 2 possibilities. One would be, I think if I had to guess, I might guess that we're gonna have to go to a whole bunch of different places. And it seems to me that this one, because we've got the dog's collar, is sending us to the petrified tree. But I wouldn't be that surprised if we also have to go to the chimney top landing. Jonathan says we should also check out the locations mentioned in the text sent to the kids. I do think that makes sense. Where did we see that? Hmm. I think that was just in our general notes, wasn't it? Good Fences post. Okay, let's see what this says. Let's remind ourselves about this. Okay, so you get points for going to the ruins, the Creekside Timber Company, the hill, pose with the tree. That seems like our petrified tree. Jones Camp Falls with the waterfalls, or Dead Man's Rock. All right. I think it's time to try the petrified tree. It doesn't feel like the game's, I mean, it does seem dangerous, but the dog actually came back there just wounded, not dead. So it's not that bad. All right, let's try our obvious answer first. Our first instinct is to go to the petrified tree because of the dog collar, and we know that's where the dog went. And we think that means to go to Dutch Hill. So Dutch Hill is going to be our answer here, where we're going to send him next. Dutch Hill. Let's see what happens. I don't think I can get there right now. Maybe there's someone else I can go in the somewhere else I can go. Okay, so it sounds like eventually we will want to go to Dutch Hill, but not yet. All right. Maybe that's going to be the final place then. In that case, if the petrified tree is not the place to go to first, then it seems like we do need to follow this instruction. Follow the smoke. And then it does feel like the best answer for that is Chimney Top Landing. I do think that's worth trying before we think about it, before we spend more time thinking about it more deeply. Let's try Chimney Top Landing. And if this doesn't work, we'll spend more time trying to think it through. Huh. I'm going to try something here. I just want to see if this is the text we get no matter what we tell him. Get some ice cream at Baskin Robbins. Let's just see if he says the same thing about I'll go there later. No. Okay. All right. So it does know what the Chimney Top Landing is, and it does know what Dutch Hill is, but those aren't where it wants to go. Strange. Those aren't the right answers. You don't think it wants us to go by number, do you? What's northeast from the mill, says Logan. All right, that was the theory that we follow the smoke in the comic, which is always going northeast. If we bring up the map, and we start at the timber company and we go northeast, we don't have a named place on this. We'd have to try to figure out what it is. Jonathan says, I don't see the first message anymore. Do we need to try that? Did it lose track of what we've done? That's a very interesting, dangerous bug. If so, okay, let's make sure that's not what has happened. So Jonathan is saying, because now we've lost the whole page. I don't know how that happened. All right, so Jonathan thinks the whole thing might have broken. So first you went to Creekside Timber Company. Okay, then, so assuming it now knows that we've gone to Creekside Timber, now we tried to go to Dutch Hill where the tree, oh, but it's gone now. So I don't think that. Oh, sorry. Is that it? Because I searched. A little scary. Okay, we went to Creekside. Now we tried to go to Dutch Hill. Wow. Jonathan was right. Wow, Jonathan saved us. Okay, so let me recap in case people didn't follow what just happened. The first place we went was the Creekside Timber Company, where we found the dog collar. We guessed that the next place to go was to Dutch Hill. We told him to go to Dutch Hill, and he said not yet. And then we tried our second follow-up, which was the chimney, and it said no, not yet. And Jonathan said, I just noticed that the website of emails seems to have forgotten that we went to the timber company, and could it be confused and not want us to go to Dutch Hill until we've gone to the timber company, but have forgotten that we went to the timber company. And sure enough, when I went back, I put in the timber company again, and then right after that, Dutch Hill, and all of a sudden now Dutch Hill is the right answer. So Jonathan saved us from hours of frustration and stress at a bug. We could have spent a long time trying to figure out where to go when we had the right answer, the first instinct, and Jonathan spotted that it wasn't there and intuited that it represented a bug that could account for it. Boy, that's pretty perceptive. All right, so Jonathan saved us. All right, let's take a little bit of let's take our next break here. I'll see you in 8 minutes. All right, we're back. You're watching Co-op for Two. We're playing Blair Witch Season 2. And we are about to send Ed to the second place, Dutch Hill. Hopefully he'll find someone. Let us open up our web page and see if we can't hear what he's found there.
Hey, get away from it! Get out of here! Investigator, I found Emma. This is different from what happened to Ray. Someone strung her up at the top of this hill, tied her to a post. She's like one of those stick people. Jesus. I can't tell how long she's been like this. Whoever did it might still be out here. This wood she's tied to, there's something carved into it. Hang on, I'm gonna send you a photo. See if you can figure out what these runes mean. They might tell us where I need to go next. I need to get out of here before whoever did this comes back.
All right. Well, that was scary. Emma is dead now. I'm not thrilled about that. Um, hmm. All right, well, let's take a look at this carving. Sounds like we might need to use our decryption. Yes, we need to use our decryption again. Where is our decryption? Where did I put our decryption key? Okay. So this is from last night's session. We figured out this alphabet. Looks like it is right side up here. So let's get our key. Why is my face over there? Where it normally is? All right. Let's translate it together here. Looks like we've got W H E and R. Where? Then we've got a T H E. Where they? You can see how you can start. You start to read these a little faster. T R I. Where they tried to M A K, where they tried to make where they tried to make E H E, where they tried to make their, is that a K? No, it's not a K, that's an H. Where they tried to make their home, I think that says. where they tried to make their home. Okay. So the next place to go is where they tried to make their home. But do we need to talk about the fact that Emma was just killed? Strung up by the trees? That's turned into a stick figure? That's scary. Okay, well, everyone in the chat has figured out, is remembering what this place they're talking about is. Where they tried to make their home was from this letter. And she talks about how they went to the town of Blair and where exactly their home was. The town of Blair. And then she says, we picked our spot near the waterfall. The pleasant rushing of the falls lulled us to sleep. So the rushing falls was the Jones Camp Falls, I believe. And maybe it's here. So you can see Jones Camp Falls, the below ground aquifer potential flooding from the waterfall. So it's either location 3, but probably this is just a reminder that Jones Camp Falls is the next place to go. All right, so if we head over to the email without closing this page, so we don't have to do it again, we think Jones Camp Falls. Jones Camp Falls. Jones Camp Falls, yes. Okay, here we go. Yep, the waterfall. Okay, let me try to call you. Marco says, no clue about the follow the smoke yet. It's true. That's kind of weird. All right. I'm a little scared. We found Ray. We found Emma. This is going to be James now, I assume. I'm a little nervous about this one.
Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. I was on my way to the waterfall, but I found something. There's a house out here. I think it's
Whoa.
the house. I don't know if this is even reaching you, but I'm at the house, and talking to you at least makes me feel not so alone. James! James! Are you here? Are you here? James! James, are you there?
Ed, I'm in here.
James!
Ed, hurry! Get in the well before it comes back.
What the hell is that thing?
Ed, get down!
Well, that was spooky, but now what do we do? I mean, we've sent him to the waterfall. If we go back, maybe he's gonna send us another message. So we sent him to Jones Camp Fall. He found James. James seemed to be he saw a house. Then he seems to have found James, and James seemed to say something like "get in the well" because the creature's coming. And then the creature came. But what are we supposed to do now? Now should we follow the smoke to the chimney top? The only thing I can think of is to go to the chimney top. John says, did it actually say well? Because I think the well is a location. I thought it did say well. Should we listen to it again? I think he said, get in the well. Let me do this again.
I
I
hope
don't want to listen to
you
this
hear me.
again, really, but
I was on my way
let's
to the
listen to it
waterfall,
again.
but I found something. There's a house out here. I think it's the the house. I don't know if this is even reaching you, but I'm at the house, and
He's
talking to
at the
you
house.
at least makes me feel not so alone.
He's at the house.
James! James!
All right, see if you hear him
Are you
say, get
here?
in the well.
James! James, are you there?
Ed, I'm in here.
James!
Ed, hurry! Get in the well before it comes back.
Get in the well
What
before it
the
comes
hell
back.
is that thing?
Ed, get down!
And there's a whole minute of silence here, really. I hear breathing, but no other signals. But what are we supposed to do now? I mean, surely we're not going to send him a text message and say, go in the well. I don't need that one anymore. Morse code. So, let's see. So no well here, but Jonathan's thought he remembered a well being mentioned. I'm hesitant to leave this page for fear it will, I can go back. But for fear it's going to forget all this. Okay, let's try manually going to super neutral again. So it was on the good fence post. All right, so the ruins, if you climb into the well, but do we think we have to message Ed and tell him to go into the well or the ruins? I don't mean we'll try it, but I think he's there. That's the weird part. All right, Jonathan says I'd try ruins. All right, we trust Jonathan now, so we're gonna try we're gonna try sending him to the ruins, but it feels like he should be hiding there already. But let's see what happens if we tell him to go into the ruins where the well is. No, doesn't like that. But he is responding to emails. That's the most important sign. All right, let's try to tell him to go into the well. How do we know the box isn't over? Hmm. Yeah, this is weird. Um, well, let's try the smoke thing while we're doing a little bit of whaling. Let's tell him to go to chimney top landing. Chimney top landing. Let's just see. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go here. Chimney top landing. It's kind of weird that he's responding to emails now. Let's see what happens. I've already been there and there's nothing. Take another look. It's weird. It almost feels like from here he should be saying something else to us. The box might be over, but I mean we have found our 3 people. So is the box over? Jonathan says, can we check that the ruins doesn't have another name on the log we have? All right, so here on this message, the ruins gives you 20 bonus points if you climb into the well. All right. And then the question was somehow if we go to the inspection report, whether the ruins are here. Hermit Cave. Lumber mill, aquifer, Witch's Bend. I don't see any mention of a well or ruins here. The first part of the next box. Are we done with this box? Have we found the 3 people? Are we done with the box? Boy, that would be a little... Surely playtesting would have told them they need something else to make it clear that you finished the box. Kind of strange. I mean, you could definitely see that you could see how that would be the right place to end the box. It looks like its location, it looks like we're here. The site adjacent to Jones Camp Falls, cleared for use but never developed. Name unspecified. This looks like it's the house of these people. This seems like the house of these people. It's the grumbling of that water, something sinister. We found trees stretching. We saw lights. Charles is changing. Found him in the corner of the foundation, standing there. I saw him staring into the current of the waterfall. A woman drawing him deeper into the forest. Then that creature came out with the bright eyes. Wanted them to see him. What about the Gillard homestead is mentioned on the log? We don't know where that is, do we? We can try follow the smoke as the message to Ed. That's an interesting idea. Well, I don't think so, but we could send it and see what happens. Surely no harm doing that. Follow the smoke. He's gonna say, I don't understand what you want me to do. Where are you? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'll tell you what, we could go check out the hints. We could also see what here, let's see. Okay. To complete this episode, help Ed complete his objective. If you're correct, find the first place. You'll receive a message prompting you to try again. So the fact that he's not prompting us to try again feels like this box is over. But we could find out by going to the hints. So let's do that. Let's go to the hints and see if we're done. Okay. What are you unhappy about? Is it per episode? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, that was terrifying. Something fell in the other room, and my heart rate just doubled. All right, let's see if we can't get the hints for. All right, here we go. Ugh. All right, here's our recap. Oh, maybe this recap will be useful. Let's see. The chain of events leading to the bloodbath is unclear. The Woods have worked their way into the minds of Ed's crew. It's difficult to know who to trust. Everyone seems to be tainted by whatever's lurking in the Black Hills forest. Strange writing, hunks of flesh. Ed heads to the house. Okay, fine. Let's see. Bonus content, which we don't get. All right, so second location, third location. That's it. There are 3 locations. We sent him to all 3. So I feel like we're done. Okay, let's check this out. Previously worked out this code. Oh, look, here's a nice summary of the code. Okay. The message says where they tried to make their home. The Daventry brothers? I thought it was a wife, daughter, and mother. Okay. There's the homestead near the waterfall. So Jones Camp Falls to complete the episode. Okay, so that's it. That is the ending of this box. Okay, so it was weird that the box ended without telling us that it ended. But that criticism aside, it has been a very atmospheric, spooky, scary box. And we are going deeper in the forest, and now we've met the creature, or we've heard it at least while we're hiding. Ed is hiding in the woods. He's found James. James is the only one alive, if it really is James, and if James isn't possessed. But I think there's a good chance he is possessed. So I'm a little nervous for Ed. I think Ed might have crawled down in the well with him. And that creature is breathing down the well looking for him. In the old house where they tried to make their home. So we are going to finish the game tonight, it looks like. We're going to open our 6th and final box. But what we'll do here is I tried to make this little light in that Kent house go on and off for you. But unfortunately, this is the only place the remote works. So you see me turning it on and off. And no one seemed to notice when I was turning it on and off. So the effect was no good. I thought I would turn it on at some scary moment, but no one noticed it. All right. What we'll do now is we will end this session right now, right here. 12:30, huh? I think YouTube only lets me start it on the half hours. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to end this session here, though. We can chat for a little bit longer. And I will go and schedule box 6 for right after this session, which I guess will be 1 a.m. I don't think, can I do it while we're here together? Since we've got some time. I think it's going to make me wait until 1 a.m. my time. Let's see if we can do this together. But basically, we're going to finish the box tonight. We're going to start a new session right after this one. But I am going to try to schedule it while we're here talking. Does anyone want to? I'll just bring up the chat here. We can talk while I do this. Can we talk while I do this? Let's see if we can. Not easily. I think I'm going to have to sign off to do it. Okay. We're going to end the session now, and I will see you in a few minutes on the next stream. So you should go back to the channel. There'll be a new stream coming up in a couple minutes where we'll play the next box. I will start it right away, but you may have to wait 20 minutes before the next click of YouTube lets me schedule it. Well, yeah, it's 20 minutes away. Let's just set it. We're going to play the next session in 20 minutes at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you then. That was a very scary ending. I'm a little scared to see how this story is going to end. It's starting to seem like it might not have a happy ending. All right, I'll see you in 20 minutes on the next stream.